So yesterday, me and some of my friends were talking to each other about which characters in Overwatch are the best to actually carry yourself up through the ranks when you're playing in solo queue. Now, of course, first off, people were saying offense because you do the most damage, which does make a lot of sense. Some people were saying, support because you gotta heal your team, keep them fully healed, stuff like that, which is very nice. You can support your team. But what I came to the conclusion, at least for myself, I thought that tanks are actually the best way to carry yourself up in solo queue in Overwatch. And let me give you a few reasons here, and a few reasons why you may want to pick up some tanks for yourself if you want to actually climb. So, probably the most and main important thing about this, about picking a tank, is that when you pick a tank such as Reinhardt, d.va, or even Roadhog, maybe even Zarya, your team will most of the time follow you. You can lead your team where to go, and they will stay behind you and actually coordinate with you a lot better. If you're playing someone like McCree, sure, your team might somewhat follow you, but overall, they probably won't. You really can't decide when you go on objectives, when you do certain things. You can't really decide where your team's gonna go. But when you're playing a tank, people follow you. People kind of look up to you, and it's kind of like you're the team leader, kind of. Not really. Don't shove that in people's faces, but it just is kind of what happens subconsciously. You try to follow the tank because the tank blocks all the damage. And just you blocking damage really allows your teammates to do a lot of damage. So that's the first thing I want to say. It just kind of gives you a bit more team coordination, a bit more power in what your team's going to do. They will most of the time follow the tank. As let's say that if you're a tank, you're walking forward, you're pushing at a payload map, most of the time your team will follow you. Or if you're someone like d.va and there is a control point map and you shift onto the map, a lot of times your teammates will jump onto the map with you, or the control point of the map. But with other characters, they just won't. So that's the first thing I'll say. You can really coordinate your team a lot better than most other characters, and that's probably one of the strongest things. Now, another thing I want to say about these characters that makes them all very strong, at least for the tank heroes, is that they all have something that is very, very good about them, each and every single one, that can also help you carry your team. Then let's just go over those. So, first off, with d.va on control point maps, you can shift onto the point and stall for time a ton, and you can also contest very easily. You can essentially just get on the point and stop the opponents from winning, which is something that is super nice and most other characters can't do. And as well with d.va, you can of course block most ultimates in the game, or at least like half of them or something, and you can also block almost all the attacks in the game, letting your teammates go in. So you're very strong in that way. You have a lot of power, and of course you have a lot of HP, which all these people have, which lets you survive for longer, which makes so you can be more of a team leader for longer. So that's just with all these characters, but in d.va in particular, she's really good at staying on the point. Next, with Reinhardt, this guy, you can just hold your right click and people will flock behind you. You can just have that up, that'll save 2,000 damage from hitting your teammates, and that's just very, very strong. If you are a good Reinhardt player, you can also, stop attacks from above from fars. You can stop even Widowmaker shots by jumping to the left or to the right, and of course, you can just stop all the damage. And of course, this is the thing that's very, very good about him. If you are a good Reinhardt versus a bad Reinhardt, a lot of times, the enemy Reinhardt will just fail at stopping damage from hitting his teammates, while you can stop all the damage from hitting your teammates. So, you're essentially making an invincible team on your team, while the enemy team doesn't have a very good shield. So, it's really nice if you are a good Reinhardt. Other than that, though, of course, if you are on payload, people will just follow you onto the payload, while otherwise they may not, because you have your shield up, so people are a lot more likely to get next to you and get behind you. And as well, you do have a very, very large hitbox with your basic attack thing, so you can kill all the squishies very quickly, and of course, your shift can just one-shot people as a tank, which is super strong. But mostly it's just that right click, that thing's super good. The next person is of course Roadhog, and with Roadhog that makes him such a great carry is that you can shift someone, and you can turn the game into a 5v6 that easily. If you hit a single shift, it's a 5v6, either on offense or defense, which is great. As a character, as a tank character, it's great. It's just amazing. You shift someone, they die, 5v6. And you can't really ask for anything better than that. You can just wait 5 more seconds, and get another shift and kill someone else again. So that's really great at carrying. After that, of course, we do, of course, have Winston, the guy who just shifts onto control points, shifts onto the control maps, just shifts everywhere, and of course gets the point for himself and gets on there very easily, and then you can put down a shield. And again, once you do this, you're gonna make your teams follow you. You're gonna make your team want to attack, and you can also give your team, just some encouragement to go forward. And then of course, finally, we have Zarya, who's just great at carrying. As your ultimate, if you hit one good ultimate, well, let's just say that the enemy team isn't going to be living for way too much longer, especially if you have charge on your shift and your E. And as well, with your shift and your E, you can make yourself survive forever while giving yourself damage, and you can save one of your best carry teammates. Let's say you have one teammate that's doing very well, but, they're shooting very well, they have a lot of damage, but they keep dying. Well, you could of course E that person, and with most of these characters, you can protect your one good carry a lot. Winston, put down your E. Roadhog, you just walk in front of it with your big hitbox. Reinhardt, of course, hold your right click. And d.va, also hold your right click. You can really protect your best carries, and when your best characters are protected, you're gonna win a lot of the times. And you can just go in, go ham, and win. And that's all I'm gonna really say about this. There's really not way too much more to say. Just these characters are very good at, just going in and making your team go in as a team. And of course, maybe you could say you won't be doing as much damage as if you were playing an attack carry, or maybe you just won't be healing. But at the same time, if you think of it like this, you are protecting your team, and you're also initiating for your team. You're doing some of the most important things that you can do, and of course you will have to rely on having some good teammates that will do some damage to the enemy, but you're gonna have to do that whether you're offense, defense, support, tank, anything. You're gonna have to deal with that, and you're gonna have a good team. But I feel like, at least in my opinion, tank is probably one of the best roles in order to carry. Now, of course, this mainly and really only applies to solo queue, as if you are in a game of 6, well, let's just say that attack is probably going to be the best, as they're going to do the most damage, and no matter what, you are going to have a team that can tell the tank what to do. So, the tank is just always defending, always doing well, while in solo queue, a lot of times, if you pick the tank yourself, then you can do well as the tank, and do all the stuff I said earlier, like just helping your team know where to go, exactly when to do the stuff that they have to do. You can also protect your teammates, but when you are in a group of 6, it's really not as easy to carry with a tank, especially against another group of 6, and offense will probably be better if you are in a group of 6, but if you are in solo queue, like the majority of us are, like I am, I feel like tanks probably is one of the best way to carry yourself up. They're all very good, they're all just super strong characters in general, and they can all make their team group up with them, they can all make their team do a lot better teamwork, and they all have a lot of super game-changing parts about their kits, every single tank so far, and that's really all I'm going to say about this. Anyways, tell me what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people saying that, Lucio / support is the best at carrying because, you can heal your whole team at the same time and go for clutch ults. Maybe offense is the best. Probably going to be the majority of you saying that because, you can do the most damage and carry the easiest that way. Maybe some will say defense, but probably not way too much. Anyways, of course, as always, this is my own personal opinion. I would love to hear yours in the comment section below, and love to hear what you guys are really thinking about this. Thinking if you think tanks really are the best at carrying, are the best at making their team come together and gaining you rank, or if you think maybe I'm just way out of the loop, not thinking correctly at all. I'd like to hear what you guys are thinking. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.